when Sarah and I had our little talk, I said that the corkscrew is used for opening wine bottles and also stabbing the mountain lions in the eye to kill them,
Right. Well, that's pretty much what you should do.
or
If
the
you see
jaguars.
if you see a jaguar in the Catskills, definitely get a corkscrew. I'm actually disappointed mine doesn't have a corkscrew on it.
Oh no
But
shit!
yeah, but
Oh,
it's got a really nice cheese knife.
once again, the perfect thing of a utility night. One of the 10 essentials. Everybody, get out there and get it. Welcome to Inside the Line, the Catskills. All right, we are live. Welcome to episode 10 of Inside the Line, the Catskills. I am here with my friend Greg Calabrese from Rip Van Winkle Adventure Guides. Say hello, Greg.
Hey.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. So, Greg and I had some problems last time that it didn't record from the normal program I use, and I'm trying to get some answers from them, but they ain't giving me answers. So, we're trying a different way through Zoom, and hopefully this will work. And if it doesn't, I'm probably gonna just give up because this is ridiculous. But I would like to thank Greg for joining us. Greg and I have hiked a couple times. First time we hiked, I remember, was Stopple Point, and I did 3 plane crashes, but we checked out 2 of them, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you were the crazy one who went down the cliffs over Stopple to the lower crash. I've now since hiked up to it from down below.
Yeah, that's my repertoire is doing the crazy shit.
Yeah, no doubt. You kept going. I was like, nah, I don't want to go back up that.
Yeah, that's when you had very little hair on your face and your head.
Yeah. Yep.
Those times. But yeah, Greg is my friend of mine, and he's been a guide for a while, so we're gonna have him here tonight, and I'm looking forward to adventures. I have extra questions to put in there, Greg, so sorry if you'd be alarmed, but it's nothing big.
That's okay. We'll just roll off the cuff.
Damn straight. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Scenic Route Guiding. Sarah Bacon, if you're listening to this, I need some sort of like 8-sentence ad for you to do. So I'd like to thank some monthly subscribers. Katrina Weinig, please get a hold of me if you hear this, because I haven't been able to reach out to you. Darren White, thank you. Got to get my gear list to you. Sorry, I'll get it soon. And John Comiskey, who is I think it's my 3rd cousin, Father John. Thank you for being monthly subscribers. I'd also like to thank Erica Winterbottom for buying me 5 coffees. Thank you very much for those coffees. And Harold Oakville for buying me a coffee as well. Erica and Harold from my search and rescue team. Awesome people. So Greg, you having anything to drink tonight, buddy?
I am drinking good old H2O tonight.
Excellent. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm having a good old rum and coke again.
Good.
It gets the job done quick.
It sure does.
So Greg, I know you've been on a previous hike that was actually phenomenal. Can you tell me about it?
Yeah, it was yesterday actually. Myself, my lovely partner Barbara Delayed, and a good friend of mine, Jason Pelton. We did 20.5 miles on the Finger Lakes Trail yesterday, basically doing all of map 28 in one day.
Oh, wow.
And it's a beautiful section of trail, man. Not a lot to be said for vistas or overlooks, but amazing forests, different kinds of forests, going through huge oak groves and then into like CCC planted pine forests, rolling hills. It was great. It was a beautiful day.
Yeah, that area around the reservoir, that's the Cannonsville Reservoir, right? Or the Pecapicon?
The Cannonsville.
Oh, it is. Oh, it's just further down. Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. It is really gorgeous.
Yeah, definitely. I remember I drove along there a couple times looking doing some bald eagle spotting. And did you get to see any?
We saw an eagle, actually. Yeah, we were down near the water. It's got to be what? That's the Delaware River, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the trail runs along the river section, and we had a way to get to the bank, and we were down there, and Jason spotted an eagle flying over the water, and then it went up over the trees.
Those are majestic creatures, let me tell you.
Yeah, they are.
But yeah, that section is absolutely stunning. No matter if you're in the woods or you're out by the reservoir and checking it out. I love driving along that. It's a very scenic area.
And a great place to hike too. So stop at one of those trailheads and jump into the woods.
Damn straight. So do you plan on completing the whole Finger Lakes Trail?
Eventually, yes. That's the plan, is to section it all, to complete it. So we've started out in the middle in the same area, but now we're just kind of working our way back into the Catskills section, so we could be done with all of that and then start planning the trips that are going to be longer drives, and working those out.
Excellent. There's I've been on a lot of the Finger Lakes Trail in the actual Finger Lakes up towards Naples and Penn and stuff like that. And those areas will blow your mind away.
Cool. I'm looking forward to getting the further western sections of it. It's area of New York I've never hiked through, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to you looking forward to it, because those areas, man. I mean, people think, the Finger Lakes as in just the Finger Lakes, but those cloves in there, the gorges are absolutely stunning. And the Finger Lakes Trail brings you right through those and stuff like that. It's amazing.
Oh, it's great. I can't wait.
The only shitty thing I would have to say about the Finger Lakes Trail is a lot of after the reservoirs and going out of the Delaware area to all the way up to the Finger Lakes area is a lot of crappy sections of a lot of road walk.
Yeah, I've seen that, and just like the long path, the group that works mainly on the Finger Lakes Trail is working on getting easements and being able to cut a lot of those roadblocks out.
Yeah, I remember, my friend does a lot of the Finger Lakes and stuff like that, and I remember talking with him and talking with some other professional people of the Finger Lakes Trail, and I remember them saying, like, it's just a lot of the people that own that land are old timers, and they think, they see everything hiking as a nuisance or something like that they don't want people walking through their land.
Yeah, I can kind of understand that sentimentality a little bit, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, those areas, you got to admit though, like are for the dedicated. Up where I live, there's not much to see. I'll admit.
Exactly, and that's kind of what the draw is, for me with the trail, is that there's not like amazing vistas and stuff like that. So when you do get something through the trees, it's a lot cooler. But I enjoy being able to actually just be in the forest. For me as a hunter, I always like being in forests that I'm like, wow, there's a lot of deer around here.
Yeah.
I saw some of the biggest deer tracks I've ever seen in New York State out there yesterday. And we actually had a buck that was bedded down in like milkweed, this, mountain field 20 yards from us. We happened to stop and we were talking, and he wasn't even scared. He stood up and just started walking through the brush away from us.
Oh, wow.
And it was pretty cool. It was just, he was completely casual, just walking away.
That's incredible. And you didn't have the urge to go run after him and hit him with a knife?
Oh, I did. I was actually cursing myself for not carrying my bow for 20.5 miles.
Speaking of knife, I gotta put that on here about the Swiss Army knife, or what they call that, utility knife. Ask you what you use it for. So let me put that on there, because my friend was wondering what we use it for, and usually it's just cutting cheese. So hopefully you have some more information.
Oh, right. For what, the Leatherman tools?
Yeah. Any of those utility knives that they tell you on the 10 essentials. We'll talk about it later.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we'll break into the Catskill news. Just an FYI, the first freeze has definitely happened. Actually, there's been a couple, so bring your micro spikes from here on out, please. It'll save your life. It'll help probably save other people's lives, other people's times. They're only like 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds, some even less than that. So just bring them out from now on. Greg brought to my attention something that would be great to bring up in this podcast would be a recent person went up to the John Robb lean-to on the Hunter Mountain Trail and graffitied the crap out of the lean-to and some of the rocks up there. So hopefully one of my friends, he actually does another podcast, and those guys inspired me to do the podcast. Check it out. Sounds like a search and rescue slasher. Very awesome podcast. But he reached out to him and kind of told him that what he did was stupid and stuff like that. But then the guy explained how knew he was wrong, and he tried to make it better. But then the guy tried to make it better by driving up the ski slopes in his, I don't even know what kind of car he had. And then he got caught by the forest ranger. So pretty funny crap, pretty stupid crap. Don't graffiti. Don't try to make your Instagram page famous. This guy's an idiot. He put his Instagram tag on the lean-to when he graffitied it. I don't know what's more stupider besides he should have just signed his name. I really don't understand, but don't do that crap. Hopefully, I really want to get him on this show and see, number one, why he did it, and number two, what he's going to do to gain our trust and gain our, respect. Hopefully he's doing I heard the New York, New Jersey Trail Conference is doing a little meetup to, actually, they did it Wednesday, I think. Did you hear about that?
No.
I think they're doing it either this coming Wednesday or they just did it to clean it up. So hopefully that guy was on there. Hopefully either he was on there or he wasn't. Hopefully he was to make himself right, but hopefully he wasn't, because he was probably going to get his ass kicked.
Yeah, no, yeah. There was a lot of people pissed off about that, including myself.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully he was on it. I've stained a few lean-tos in the Catskills. That's an awfully fun day, getting covered in brown stain that doesn't come off for weeks.
Yeah, I could imagine, man. I mean, my God, thank you for doing that as well, Greg. That's awesome. What lean-to did you do?
The first one I did was Elm Ridge that's actually the first time I met Mo Lemire from Hike On Guides. And then I've done Kelly Hollow and one other one I can't remember right now, but it was it's a fun day of staining them, but yeah, it's a messy job.
Once again, thank you for doing that. That's awesome. I didn't know you did that before, but I don't, I've hiked with you a couple times, but I also don't know much about you, and I'm excited for this podcast. But once again, graffiti on the job lean-to, please don't do that shit. Cut it out. There's no reason to do that stuff. Leave it the beautiful way it was. Just like leave no trace, leave it as is. So today, Greg, this is a big story I have to tell you that happened today. Oh man, this is great. This is hilarious.
What do you got?
All right. So I'm getting ready to leave work. I'm leaving work. I'm picking up my groceries. I do the online grocery pickup so I don't have to spend hours in the store with my wife. So I walk into the place I'm picking up. My fellow coworkers in there. My somewhat boss, introduces me to this new kid named James. And I said, what's up? My name's Stosh. And he goes, oh, Stosh, the guy with the podcast about hiking. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, how did you find out? And he goes, well, one of Aaron, he goes from AP. Aaron, thank you for spreading the word about my podcast, by the way. You're awesome. But Aaron from AP, who was teaching us, told me about your podcast because they asked what we like to do. And I said, hiking. And I was like, oh, cool. Check out my podcast. He goes, what's it about? And I go, hiking, history, stuff like that in the Catskills. I'm just like, he goes, oh, hiking. He's like, I got some good stories. It's like, cool, man. Well, what do you got? And he's like, well, one of the times I was out there in the woods and I saw a jaguar. I'm like,
oh man.
I'm like, okay, so were you like in Brazil? Something like that? He's like, no, up here. I go, interesting. Any evidence of this stuff? He's like, no. I saw it and I shined a light onto it. I go, are you serious, bro? And he's like, yeah, I'm serious. And I go, you know, like mountain lions are barely even seen up here. And he goes, yeah. And I go, well, then a jaguar is barely even seen above the Florida state line because it's a tropical animal. You can't really survive out of 70 degrees.
Right.
Yeah. He proceeds to keep telling me that he saw a jaguar and he's seen many of them up here. And after that, he told me, he asked me, he goes, have you ever seen a jaguar? I go, absolutely not. I haven't been down to Florida or in the tropical regions besides Jamaica. He goes, well, then you need to spend more time in the woods. And keep in mind, this is a kid that's probably like 22 years old. So right. I look at him and my other coworkers are laughing their ass off because they know that I'm a big avid outdoorsman. I spend every week, 2 times a week out in the Catskills.
Right. And you do search and rescue.
Yeah. And that adds that's a third day out there. This freaking week is going to be insane. I'll tell you about that. So I sit there and I laugh. I'm just like, all right, buddy, when you can get me like evidence of this stuff, I'm like, and then I stop. I'm like, wait a minute. So you sat there, he was near you and you shined a light on him, but you didn't take a picture. He's like, no, I just didn't have my phone on me. I'm just like, listen, you're 22 years old. You have your phone right by your face. And he just looks at me. He's like, no, I couldn't get a picture. It was too quick. I'm like they always say, buddy. And my friends are looking around and one of my other bosses is like laughing her ass off. And he's, looking at her. He's like, what's so funny? What's so funny? And she goes, and I said to him, I'm like, first of all, I'm not going to judge you based on a first impression. I just met you. You have no clue who I am, number one. And I'm just like, obviously, if I did a podcast about something, I would not do it being stupid and like not knowing what I'm doing.
Right.
And he's just like, yeah, whatever. He's just like, you probably need to spend more times in the woods to find a jaguar. And I'm like, we'll talk about this later, man. I'm not even on the clock. I'd rather do this when I'm getting paid. And he just,
no.
I'm just serious. I was laughing so hard and I'm just like, buddy, I'll talk to you later. I'm just like, just ask your coworkers about me and then you'll figure it
out. So now we have to worry about jaguars.
I know. I'm just like, man, what am I going to do at the middle of night when I think there's a jaguar 20 feet up in the tree?
Right.
And I asked him, I'm like, are you sure you saw a jaguar or like a 40-year-old female, like a cougar? And he just looked at me like dumbfounded, like, what? I'm like, oh man, never mind.
Yeah. Jaguars.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody, please watch out for jaguars in the Catskills. Apparently they're out there. I don't know where in the Northeast they are, but this guy says he's seen them. Watch out for mountain lions and grizzlies and tigers and stuff like that.
And Sasquatch.
And Sasquatch. He's been spotted several times. And I forgot my friends in the Sounds Like a Search and Rescue podcast talked about something up in that's been spotted up in New Hampshire. I'll have to look at it. It's like I forgot what they called it, but somebody said they spotted it. It's almost like its lower half is a goat and then its upper half is a human and stuff like that. It's really odd.
I'd be curious to see that.
Yeah, I'll have to remember what it was called, but it's pretty crazy. All right, so that's my story of the day. I didn't know if that would be funny or not, but I thought it was hilarious at the time because I guess I need to spend more time in the woods.
Maybe 4 days a week.
Yeah, right. Just like you and Mo.
Yeah. I think Mo spends 7 days a week in the woods.
Yeah, he's got it made, man. He's got the life, and I envy him. I plan on getting him here. So Mo, if you're listening, I'm getting you on here, and you know it. Just we need to make a date. Nice.
I can't wait for that one.
I know. I'm gonna get him on here for through hiking.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's like the king of that. So I'm like, I got to get him on here through hiking, and we'll get a date going.
Hell yeah.
All right, so let's get into some Catskill mountain history. Yeah, some Catskill history. Tonight is about Stony Clove Notch, great place in the Hunter area. So if you visited the town of Hunter in Greene County, there'll be definitely one image that's be stuck in your head, and that's Stony Clove Notch. If you are driving through Hunter and going over to Tannersville, you will see a massive gouge in the side of the mountain, and it is a stunning place. And if you do not look that way, then there's something wrong with you, because it is definitely memorable. Stony Clove Notch, roughly at 2,220 feet in elevation, is a narrow pass or notch which divides Hunter and Plateau Mountain. There is just enough room for the road, and the steep, soaring slopes of both mountains are some of the Catskills' most striking scenery, and I can agree with that. Landslides and rocky cliffs are visible on both sides. When you're coming from the Hunter area, you can definitely spot this all over the place, and it's definitely will catch your eye. Once again, if you do not look at that, then something is wrong, because it is absolutely stunning. The soaring slopes of both mountains are some of the Catskills' most striking scenery. As I said, with it is traversed by State 214, which passes through Hunter and Phoenicia, and it once used to be an Ulster and Delaware Railroad went through it. It sits at one end of Devil's Path, which Greg has traversed many times, and earlier visitors found it a terrifying place to visit. But today, it's a popular destination, not only for tourists in the region, but outdoor recreationists as well. One of Catskill's major hiking trails across the road, which is Devil's Path again, near the notch, and ice climbers and snowboarders have lately been attracted to the cliffs and slopes in the winter. I've definitely gone there in the winter and seen ice climbers up to the side of Hunter, and it's actually striking to see. And actually, I don't know if you've ever seen it, Greg, but I remember when I was doing a 3,500 club cleanup that you can see a face on the side of the mountain right over there on the Hunter side. Have you seen that?
It was pointed out to me. Yeah, I've seen the face. It's pretty cool. I haven't been up close and personal with it. I would love to try to hike up to it, but I'm definitely no ice climber.
Damn straight. I am not going to try that stuff. Ice climbing is definitely something I am afraid of.
Yeah, I'll rock climb, but I'm not going to put my life in the hands of some ice.
Of something that's just hanging there.
Right.
Also, Stony Clove Notch was created during the end of the last ice age, when meltwater that had accumulated in what is now called the Schoharie Headlands to the north of the notch gradually began eroding away the gap between the mountains and eventually becoming Stony Clove Creek. When the first Europeans were taken through the notch, it was only narrow enough, not only that one was to travel through it possibly only by foot, but those travelers had to go through in single file. So just imagine that today you get to cross with two cars. People back then in the 1800s traveled through single file.
Wow.
Yeah, that's insane. It's probably, of course, it was probably due to all the landslides and the rock accumulating on the sides.
I would imagine.
As a painter and writer, Charles Landman said in the 1840s, "It is the loneliest and most awful corner of the world that I've ever seen. I fancy could make it a man feel more utterly desolate. It is the type of valley in the shadow of death. We had to pass through it in single file, and in single file we must pass to the grave." Some dark stuff right there.
Yeah, it is.
Catskill historian Alf Evers, who has several books on the Catskills, please take a look at it. He's got some amazing stuff. Suggests that those interested in getting an idea of what Stony Clove Notch was like before the construction of the roads to visit nearby Diamond Notch, which is a gem in the Catskills, whereas it's still possible to put one foot on Southwest Hunter Mountain and another on West Kill Mountain. A few years later, at great expense, the route through the notch was widened to allow enough room for a single wagon by Charles Edwards, a local tanner. Later excavations allowed the Stony Clove and the Catskill Mountain Railroad to build a narrow gauge rail line through the gap. It was later upgraded to a standard gauge and used until 1940, with the flagstop Stony Clove Notch Railroad Station located nearby. The railbed remains visible in the woods to the east and is almost all the way to the height of the land. The Stony Clove Turnpike was a private company incorporated in 1873 to upgrade and improve existing wagon road. It eventually became Route 214. The approach from the Schoharie to the north, where the two mountains can be seen from 214's junction with 23A, is characterized by a steadily upward climb after the creek has been crossed, the two mountains seeming more and more immense until they just about swallow the road. Evers recommends coming this way when a thunderstorm are brewing to the south if one wishes to understand attitudes such as landmen's lightning and thunder will be tossed back and forth from one mountain to another. And it will not be hard for a man with a normal amount of imagination to put himself in the place of his ancestors and see that Stony Clove has transformed into the very gates of hell. Damn. Dark stuff.
That sure is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely some deep stuff in Stony Clove Notch here.
Yeah, really. I mean, you can kind of feel it when you're in there, you feel that weird vibe.
Yeah, definitely a little sunlight doesn't help.
Right.
From the south, when you approach it from Phoenicia, the Stony Cloves had less drama. You can't really see Hunter and Plateau Mountains until the Notch is closer. However, it offers much as sliven scenery winding along Stony Clove Creek as it gradually gains higher and higher. Finally, at the Devil's Tombstone, which is a public campground, it straightens out and the Notch becomes apparent as it sweeps by Notch Pond and up to the height of the land. Notch Pond is a very beautiful place, very awesome place to just sit back and relax if you have the time just to visit there. Great scenery and great place for families too as well. Stony Clove Notch is truly an unforgettable place and apparently holds a very dark history in the Catskills as well. Definitely some stuff that I never thought of, but really cool stuff from Catskills history. What do you think, Greg?
Really interesting. It's I would love to see them do something with the old rail trail.
Oh yeah.
Like connect it to Notch Inn Road.
Yeah, it's right there, right?
Yeah, it runs down that side. So yeah, it'd be great to see them work a little bit of that trail down that way. This way you can do Plateau as a loop.
That would be fantastic. What a great place though. Anybody, if you want to, we're you know what, a good thing that I like to see is everybody not trying from the trailhead that has the shortest distance, but try to go through every trailhead, spread out the love. That area in Notch Inn is absolutely phenomenal going up to Willow Creek. Like Greg said, connect that would be phenomenal from the old railroad bed, because I remember if you're still driving, you can see where the old bridge used to be, right?
Yeah, you can see a little bit of it. And you can really, I mean, as you're driving along, you really notice the flat too. So it's all pretty visible from the road.
That's some wicked stuff. So once again, some cool Catskill Mountain history. Stony Clove Notch, check it out. So let's get to the topic for tonight. Greg Calabrese and Winkle Adventure Guides. We're also going to talk about his hunting stuff a little. But Greg, so introduce yourself, buddy.
Hi, my name is Greg Calabrese. I grew up here in the Catskills, in the town of Catskill, the base of the escarpment. I pretty much spent most of my life here running around in the Catskills, and now I'm trying to show other people some of the cool stuff and some of the beauty of the Catskills that I found. So I started a guide company, and I guide for hiking, camping, backpacking, hunting, fishing, and I do kayak tours on the Hudson River and Catskill Creek.
Awesome. So that, I mean, kind of answered my next question. How long have you lived in the Catskills?
Pretty much my whole life. Well, about half and half, but I lived in the Catskills since 1973 when my parents moved us up here from Brooklyn. Started hiking around just the mountains, the lower hills in Catskill, and then as a teenager started progressing, moving on more further up the escarpment and further west.
Further up the bigger peaks to take on bigger challenges.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's so cool. I'm very jealous, of people who lived around there and get to look at those every day of their life. I'm very jealous.
I'm jealous of the people who live in Columbia County across the Hudson on the eastern shore. They have the most amazing view of the Catskills.
I got to agree with you on that.
I mean, from any hill in like the Berkshires or even like just the lower hills, just over in Columbia County, you can see from Wyndham all the way to Woodstock in one shot and beyond. as far as the line of the Catskill Escarpment goes. It's one of the best views.
It's a fantasy. I gotta admit, like that. It's a very memorable place over there. I forgot what is it, Fenwick or something like that? Fire Tower?
Ferncliff Forest.
Yep, I did that, and that's got that view is just absolutely stunning.
Yeah, the view from that fire tower is one of the best. I did it was in autumn once when I did it, and just the color change and going from like the river valley all the way up to the mountains with your view. It was just, yeah, it was awesome. And that's a great little pocket of state forest that has some really nice hiking trails in it too.
Agreed. I did that the day after I received my 3,500 certificate.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely. So how long ago did you start Rip Van Winkle Adventure Guys?
I've had my guide license with New York State for 6 years now. And I started going more full time with the guide business about 3 years ago.
Excellent. That's pretty cool stuff. So you've been a guide for 6 years. You started 3 years ago. So my next question is, did you see a huge, massive increase of rise during the COVID times, as in your guiding times?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I saw a huge increase in the amount of people. I mean, just not even just from guide times, but from living here in the Catskills and witnessing seasons go by and the amount of cars parked on the sides of the road. There was a huge increase in people coming out and getting back to nature. And I saw it through the business and definitely just driving around.
Oh, I gotta agree with that. Definitely. We all, of course, they had their guidelines, stay within this county, stay within your own county. But, when I was able to go outside of the counties, oh my God, seeing the people, one of the craziest things I've ever seen was going up to Slide Mountain, Jake and I hiking in the winter during kind of like a little tiny snowstorm, and Panther was packed out to the max. And this was on a Tuesday. So I'm just like, oh my God. I mean, but you know what? I can't blame them.
No, absolutely not. It was great to see more people reconnecting with nature and looking at things that were closer to where they lived, as opposed to taking huge trips to go pretty much do the same things. I mean, a lot of people who took trips to Colorado to go hiking now we're stuck hiking in New York, and they discovered areas in their backyards, and it was great for families, newer hikers and stuff like that, to be introduced to it. Now we just need to work on educating all of them.
I definitely agree, and that's that's another reason why I'm doing this podcast, is for education. And that's I was once a second vice president of the 3,500 Club. And that was a big reason why I joined, is because, I was one of the youngest of the club's members, or not members, but committee. And, that was my purpose, was to get the education out there. And that's what we need, just seeing people on the trail, not knowing what they're doing and not knowing what to do at the situation. That's why we have people like you for guides, to be like, hey, we shouldn't do that. This is how you should do it. And then they're like, oh my God, that makes sense. And it's great. Once again, it's great to have guides like you and Mo, Sarah, educating the public. And then once that education you pass on to them, they will pass on to other people. And it's phenomenal.
That's the hope. Yeah. I always I saw a lot of, there were a lot of flagrant violations going on in the Catskills in the summer of 2020. And I learned from early on just to not address it as like I was saying it. So I always use I saw a ranger in the parking lot and they were headed this way, and you should probably not be doing that when they get here. And then they were like, oh, really? You can't do that? I was like, no, you can't pitch your tent right on the side of the waterfall by Poet's Ledge and camp for the night. No, you can't do that. And especially you can't just build a campfire. But, I don't want to tell you what to do, but the Rangers coming.
Yes.
And then they would start packing their stuff up. And it was just like, it was so much easier than going like, you can't do this.
Yeah. And then they would spit on you and stuff like that. But
Right.
that's perfect. That's what, I've seen that once in a while, and I've used that approach as well. I'm like, the Rangers right down the street. I just talked to them. I'm in search and rescue and stuff like that. And they'll be like, "Oh crap!"
All right. Yep. So you just blame it on the Rangers.
Yeah. I hope none of my Ranger friends are listening to this. Sorry.
Right.
I highly doubt they are. I've tried to get some Rangers into listening to this, but hopefully they'll come on and they'll get some education and going in on this.
Yeah.
All right. So my next question, you are a big adventure guide. Like you go above and beyond. I remember you telling me stories, well, you one time took some people to Echo Lake to camp out and you brought like a massive feast. And same thing with that Mink Hollow storm lean-to thing that you told me about. So you apparently go above and beyond to give those people an amazing experience in the Catskills. Can you tell us anything about that?
Basically, it's hard to describe it. I like to show people a good time about, camping, and it's not all like dehydrated and freeze-dried meals and all of that. I mean, the ultralighters and the thru hikers that have to ordeal that kind of food is it's awesome. But for me, a couple of nights in the woods, I want to treat people to some steaks or, my go-to is venison tacos. So one of the easiest camp foods to make and easiest to pack in that packs a really great punch is everybody loves tacos. So, I like to go out. I like to go all out with stuff like that. Let people know that, you can enjoy yourselves out there and relax. It's not that hard to do. And it's just a matter of bringing the extra weight. I know a lot of us have gone towards like the ultralight and all that, but there's a balance between it, and it's, and I don't know, I just see the look on people's faces at the end of a day of backpacking, and you're starting a campfire, and next thing you know, they're eating tacos as opposed to, the Mountain House lasagna is priceless.
That is so true. Oh man.
Not that there's anything wrong with Mountain House. Sorry if anybody from Mountain House is listening.
Speaking of Mountain House, so it's sponsor Greg and his Rip Van Winkle Adventure Guides.
Right. Step up your recipes.
I know. I was gonna say, make some. Look at Greg's venison taco recipe, please. So that's awesome. And I agree with you. What's an extra 2 pounds for amazing food and amazing experience, right?
Right. I mean, if you're not, everything has its place. So if you're not trying to through hike the Appalachian Trail or Northville Placid Trail or some other, long trail, there's no reason to deny yourself some nice food. Camp food is very easy to put together and very packable.
And a lot of the places at the lean-to offer those campfires that are legal, which is good. So why not have a good time when you're out in the woods? Why not make an experience that you'll remember, right?
Right. Exactly. You're there for a couple of nights, and make it a memorable experience.
And that's what Greg does. So if you guys want an awesome backpack experience, let Greg know, please. Rip Van Winkle Adventure Guides. So I remember, we've hiked together a couple times, and we hiked up Sugarloaf. It wasn't really a snowstorm, but it was a good weather day with some snow and some cold. But you told me about something that happened at Mink Hollow. If it's not illegal, it won't get you in trouble. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, it's nothing that we did was illegal. We were in compliance with all Catskills regulations. But a good friend of mine, it was his birthday, and we were trying to plan something to do for him. So we decided, hey, let's pack up our backpacking gear and we'll just go up to Mink Hollow Lean-To. It's not even a mile to hike there from the north side parking lot. So his birthday's in January, so it's the middle of winter and pretty cold, and there's a snowstorm in the forecast, and we were like, we're good. It's a mile away, we're fine. So we packed in just about everything we possibly could. We had probably a full bar plus several cases of beer, enough food to feed an army with only about 6 of us there eating and hanging out. And of course, a friend of mine decided that since it was our friend's birthday, he was going to bring some fireworks to celebrate the birthday. And we got up to the lean-to. It had just started snowing, so we started tarping off the area and getting the lean-to set up to keep snow out of it. And a friend of ours and our friend decided to light off a Roman candle. And now it's the dead of winter, so there's no leaves. Everything's covered in snow. We're not just indiscriminately setting fireworks off in the mountains. But the Roman candle started going off, and the one red flare went up, and we looked at that and we were like, that really looked like a search and rescue flare. So we stopped, and then we continued to celebrate our friend's birthday with lots of food and lots of drinks. And the snowstorm continued, and probably about a few hours later, we start hearing a voice coming from out on the wind. Now we have the lean-tos pretty much tarped off at this point in the front, so we can't see out of it. So we hear this voice, and he's calling our friend's name, and the voice gets closer, and we open the tarp on the lean-to, and in pokes the head of a Catskill Mountain Forest Ranger. And we're all just in complete shock that even anybody came walking up in the snowstorm. And the ranger looked at us with the same look on his face and actually asked us, "You guys do know that there's a snowstorm coming, right?" And we were all, we all said, "Yeah, that's why we're here." And he asked us if we had lit off a rescue flare. And we came clean and told him that we lit off a Roman candle. And he said that a house down the road from just below the Mink Hollow trailhead had called it in thinking that there was a rescue flare, that someone was coming down off a Sugarloaf or a plateau and needed help in the snowstorm. So that was my first introduction to Ranger Rob Dawson. Really good guy, though. He told us, he said he was like, we weren't doing anything wrong. And he was just really happy that he didn't have to carry anybody down off the mountain in the snow. And yeah, we kept trying to offer him food, but he didn't want it.
Ranger Dawson. He's a very straightforward guy.
Yeah, he's a really good guy, though, but very, very straightforward, pretty stoic kind of personality.
Oh yeah, he's got Ranger Dawson. I just want to thank you for everything. You got one of the toughest sections in the Catskills.
Absolutely, yeah, of the Catskill Clove and North Lake. Whew.
Yeah, I remember. I've met with him several times, especially during that COVID crisis of the Clove. And you know what? Everybody gave him shit of not doing enough and stuff like that. But you know what? It was a single person. He did what he can. So lay off of the Rangers, do the right things, and give them less to do, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they probably love coming up there like a Roman candle. Oh my God. They probably loved coming up there like, oh, these guys are having fun. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it was it was definitely funny and scary for a minute there, but he took it with a good sense of humor and trekked himself back down to his truck and got home to his family.
Good call. Once again, awesome story. I love it. I love it. So also one thing, we're friends on Facebook. Of course, we've been friends for a good long time. We used to troll a lot on Catskill trail conditions. So I love seeing your pictures of kayaking, especially your sunset pictures. I am jealous as heck of those pictures. So tell us about your kayaking guides. What an amazing experience, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, come down anytime next year from Memorial Day to Columbus Day. We're kayaking all the time. We kayak out on the Hudson River right off of a small little town called Athens. It's a beautiful little historic town here just north of Catskill. They have a great kayak launch that sends you right out into the river, where there's an island that's about 2 miles long that separates the Athens side from the town, from the city of Hudson on the other side. And it's one of the most perfect places to kayak on the Hudson, because you paddle out and you get over to the eastern side and you get that awesome view of the Catskill Mountains. So you get both in one. And it's a great section of river. It's really flat. And there's a lot of history there too. So it's pretty cool. On top of that, we do kayak tours on the Catskill Creek here in Catskill, into the Ramshorn Wildlife Preserve. And that's a really great paddle. The Ramshorn Creek twists and turns like you're in the Everglades. It's got the high grass walls, high grass banks. If you go in at sunset times, you'll have deer that walk up on the banks of the river. You'll see all kinds of birds. You'll see eagles and osprey, great blue herons. I've seen snapping turtles in there that were huge.
So do you with your kayaking tours, do you provide the kayaks?
Yes. Yep. Provide the kayaks through a rental company partnership that I have.
Nice.
And yeah.
Once again, the bond between the community is awesome. I love that.
Yeah, it's great that the outdoor community just works really well with each other, as far as I've noticed, since I've been in business.
And that's the way it should be. And that's once again, everybody, I try to get a time of introducing a new Catskill place from the towns and stuff like that. So I'll have to start doing that again. I'm slacking. But once again, the Catskill community and the communities of small towns is tight. So as Greg said, he rents from a local rental company for his business, and they offer an agreement, which is absolutely phenomenal. And that's the way it should be. Screw Walmart and all those freaking places.
Yep, exactly. It's mom and pop shops, especially in these small towns around the Catskills. It's really important to support local. And even in the guide community, I'm friends with several different guides through different companies, and we all work together. We're actually like a lot of times messaging each other like, hey, I got somebody that wants to do this trip, but I can't do it. You want me to pass them along? If you ever need help, it's great bringing in other, you can just call up another guide. If they're not doing anything, they'll come along as a co-guide for a trip if you have a larger group. So we all seem to work pretty well together here in the Catskills.
And that's awesome. That's the way it should be. And that was a question I had in my mind is, if you guys work together or if you're in competition. There's probably some people that don't work with you, but I would imagine that you guys are friends, and if you have that relationship with the other guy, then it will continue to grow your relationship, because they're like, oh, this guy's awesome, pass them on to him.
Yeah, no, I'm like I said, I'm good friends with several different guides here in the Catskills, and yeah, we're always passing things back and forth. I help out a larger guide company that does larger trips. I help them out all the time, and I'm happy for the work and just happy to be out getting people outside into nature. So I'm not in, I don't think of it as competition. I like to look at it all as we're a family all we're all at one goal, trying to educate and get people into nature. So there's no reason to compete.
Damn straight. You see, that's maybe you should go for a run for the Catskill 3500 Club Committee.
I don't think the 3500 Club would want me on their committee.
That's what I thought as well. But you know what? I tried it. I don't like politics, so
right.
I'm not that kind of guy. Usually I give somebody the finger if I think their stuff is not cool, but
right.
But that's how us punks do it. By the way, Jeff and I are big punk rockers and metalheads, so another reason why we get along.
That's right.
So also we'll go into some shorter questions. You hunt a lot in the Catskills. I'm guessing the hunt experience is pretty cool. You got your own specific spots. And tell us about your hunting experience in the Catskills.
Yeah, I hunt a lot in the Catskills. As I look around my apartment that like really needs cleaning, because all I do is figure out how often I could be in the woods hunting and still balance work. The Catskills are a great place to hunt, and there's a lot of food out there, so to speak. That was the reason I got into hunting about 10 years ago. I grew up here, but I didn't grow up in a hunting family. They weren't against it or anything, just didn't hunt. And I started looking at what was going on with factory farming and the food that we buy at the grocery store, and realized that I wanted to learn how to hunt so I could learn how to hunt for my own food.
Awesome. And I see that your preferred method of hunting is bow, correct?
Yes, compound bow is most definitely my preferred method. I love archery. Shooting the bow is very therapeutic. So even just in the backyard, at the end of the day, shooting at a target, it just kind of makes everything go away and your mind focuses. And it takes skill to be a bow hunter. Not knocking anybody else, rifle hunters and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to get attacked. I shoot, I rifle hunt too, but I just prefer to use my bow. It's about stealth and quiet and getting in closer to your target, so to speak. So, and it's very primal. It's just from the moment I picked up a bow and first shot at a target in the backyard, it was just, it felt like you feel primal, almost like a caveman sort of. You're going out to get food.
Yeah, basically what I call, I've to be honest, I've never hunted in my life, but bow hunting is very traditional.
Yeah.
And I see that, as definitely a better skill than hunting, where as hunting, how far away can you use a rifle, with your spot?
Right. I mean, there's people, I know people that have taken animals with rifle at over 600 yards. This is not here on the East Coast, but out west where you actually have more visual space,
right,
to shoot like that. Yeah, it's not uncommon. You can shoot extremely far with rifles. Your maximum with a bow is probably 100 yards, and that's only people who train really hard to be able to shoot that far. Generally, you're within 20 to 40 yards of a deer or whatever your prey is with a bow when you're shooting. So you're talking like 60 feet.
Wow. So it's also, traditional and skill.
Yeah, it's it takes a lot of practice to be able to be confident in your equipment, to make an ethical, quick kill, so the animal that you're trying to hunt doesn't suffer.
That's true. So once, and sorry for the vegan people out there who's listening to this.
I know.
I'm just thinking about that. I'm like, oh shit, they're gonna give me crap.
Yeah.
But you know what? Hunting is traditional. Hunting has been here. Hunting prey, hunting animals has been here for thousands and thousands of years. And the thing is that, the deer population is growing, as we know. The bear population is like lessening. So what we need is that balance. And, that's why you have people like Greg.
Right. And, my hunting fees for licensing and tags that I pay for every year go to conservation. And it's basically it's the money that New York State gets to build trail systems for people to hike on.
Thank you. Yes. And once again, sorry for the vegan people, but you hike in the Catskills. Greg is one of your big supporters.
Yep.
So not trying to badmouth you, but Greg, hunting, I think what is it? I heard that hunting, of course, hunting is the biggest supporter of the state parks.
Yeah, it's because of the fees that we pay for our hunting licenses and our tags.
Yep. And so just remember that, hikers. Remember that. Give those hunters respect when you see them on the trail. Don't think of them as a nuisance. Don't think of them as like, oh, they're the ones doing bad. They're paying for those trailheads, those parking areas, those upkeeps in the trail systems and stuff like that. So they're a big part of the New York State Conservation and New York State Park Association.
Yep. Not just here in the state. That's nationwide as well. It's federal.
True. I agree. Awesome. It's perfect. Great point to put out there. Is definitely thank you to all the hunters. Hopefully we have some in here. So brings us on to our next question, which is helpful by my friend Sarah of Scenic Route Guiding. The utility knife. Greg, do you use the utility knife for other than cheese cutting?
Mostly cheese cutting. Yes, absolutely. Mostly cheese cutting. I'm actually pulling out my Leatherman, which is sitting right next to me. I do use the pliers a lot, but never outside. It's just they're always with me. So the pliers get used a lot around my home, but not really so much during hiking. I'm trying to see what else is on here.
Well, when Sarah and I had our little talk, I said that the corkscrew is used for opening wine bottles and also stabbing the mountain lions in the eye to kill them.
Right. Well, that's pretty much what you should do.
Or the jaguars.
If you see a jaguar in the Catskills, definitely get a corkscrew. I'm actually disappointed mine doesn't have a corkscrew on it.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. But it's got a really nice cheese knife.
Once again, the perfect thing of a utility knife. One of the 10 essentials. Everybody get out there and get it to cut cheese.
Right. See, my contribution to ultralight though is that I've discovered I can buy pre-cut cheese, and I don't have to carry my utility knife.
Wow. That blows my mind. Once again, something that I could have never thought of. So, you know what? Screw that 10 essential thing. Cross that off the list. Prepackaged cheese.
Right.
I love it. So that kind of concludes our session with Greg. We're going to just go quickly into, once again, winter hiking. Greg, thank you for talking about Rip Van Winkle Adventure Guides. I love it. I love seeing your stuff. Everybody check out him on Facebook. Do you have an Instagram?
Yes, Instagram page is RVW Adventure Guides.
Anything else? Do you have an official website or?
Website is ripvanwinkleadventureguides.com.
Awesome. So check them out. Facebook. Instagram, and he has an official website. So check him out if you want to go on awesome adventures, have some great food on awesome adventures, also amazing kayaking. Check out his pictures. You will not be disappointed. Thank you, Greg, once again for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so we're going to do a really quick session on winter hiking again. Everybody carry your micro spikes, 1.5 to 2 pounds. I started carrying them a week ago, and I haven't hiked in the Catskills. I'm going tomorrow. Yeah. So winter hiking, I'm carrying my spikes. Snowshoes are in the back of my car. Greg, you're probably carrying your spikes, correct?
Spikes are in the pack already. Snowshoes, not so much.
Yeah. Not yet.
No, but the spikes are already in the pack.
What's your preferred spikes, by the way?
I use Catulas.
All right. And I use Hill Sound, so check them out. Hill Sound's Catulas, $40 to $70. Check out my last episode if you're looking about winter hiking. I talked about that a little bit. I went all over the place once again. Just let I just let everybody know I have adult ADD and I bounce all over the place. It's crazy. So with once again winter, your pack is going to be heavier. You need more gear to stay alive. Look up if you want to look up what could happen in the winter. Check out 2010. One person died on Blackhead Mountain. Seth Lyons, really crazy story. Check it out. I hopefully will be getting. I want to get a ranger in that was involved in that, and I want to find the other man who was also in that as well to tell his story of what happened and what he learned from hiking in the wintertime. Check out also Catskill Trail Conditions, Aspiring Catskill 35ers on Facebook. They have a lot of great answers. There are definitely trolls, I got to admit, like me sometimes.
And me.
Yeah. When you ask about snowshoes, when there hasn't even been a flake of snow in the Catskills, you're going to get trolls. Sorry. But those places are actually very great. You know, the first time I started out on Catskill Trail Conditions, I was a big troll, but then I realized that it wasn't as funny when I did it so often. But they are a great place for information. Ask some questions here and there. Also search for those questions you're looking answers to. There's a lot of old stuff. These places have been around for like 5 or 6 years. So definitely Greg has posted stuff on there. I've posted stuff on there of answers of stuff. Definitely check those places out. Check out also catskillmountainator.com. Awesome place to get a lot of information. When I first started out, I was looking on there constantly. And also, once again, bring your micro spikes.
Put them in your pack.
Put them in your pack. Keep them in your pack until, God, I don't even know when. June.
Well, they're good all year long for creek crossings when you have to cross logs. You just put your micro spikes on.
Oh, damn. I never thought about that.
Yeah, well, they work great.
Yeah, never thought about that. All right. Well, once again, Greg, thank you for joining us. Winkle Adventure Guides. Check them out all over the social media and on the internet. Thank you, Greg, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime, man. I'm very, very glad to have you on here, and I'm glad once again you're my friend.
Me too.
Let's get out and freaking hike sometime. All right.
Absolutely, please. Let's do it.
All right, Greg. Thank you, and thank you everybody from listening. Check out Winkle Adventure Guides. Check out Scenic Route Guiding. Thank you for people have donated. Thank you for people who have donated coffee, for bought me a coffee, and hopefully you have a good time, and hopefully you've had a good listen. Have a good night, Greg.
You too.
All right.